Hello, welcome to Bon Chibo. Today I'm going to be making gnudi. Basically, it's a type of dumpling that's made from ricotta cheese, or it's almost like the filling that you put inside a ravioli. But we're going to be just forming it and cooking it as a dumpling. So I have here about 3 pounds of ricotta cheese, and what I did with this was I had taken it out of the container and I put it in a colander. And set the colander in a bowl, and I let this drain for about, I would say, a good 5 hours before I started this process, because I really want to try to get as much of the water out of it as possible. And so here I have about a cup of pecorino cheese, and here about 1.5 cups of Parmigiano cheese. I add that to this bowl. So I'm going to start to punch this down just a little bit, because we're going to end up with quite a lot of product in this bowl. And of course, this is melted butter, and I would say that's about 6 tablespoons of melted butter that I'm adding to this. And I have here 3 eggs. I'm just going to beat them slightly. And I will be adding that also. And this is, I blanched the spinach and chopped it up quite fine. This is something that you do not need to add to this dish if you don't want to. Some people put it in, some people don't. I like to go a little bit lighter on it, so that it's not so green looking, and the spinach can be a little bit fibrous. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a mix. And I have nutmeg here. So I'm going to give this a good amount of grated nutmeg, because I have a lot of Parmesan cheese in here. And I do want, nutmeg has a strong flavor, but because there's so much cheese in here, I'm going to add quite a bit of it. Because I do want it to come through a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. That should be enough. And then I'm going to start, this is half 00 flour and half all-purpose flour. It's all in front of me. So I'm just going to add this a little bit at a time and start mixing it. I'm just going to move this over here. So I'm going to just mix that up quickly, and we'll come back and we'll start forming it. Okay, so I've got this formed into 2 balls, and I've got some flour on the table. And here in a box, I put a little semolina flour in the bottom of this. And I rolled one of these out already just to kind of test it to see if it was going to be the consistency I wanted. So what I'm going to do is just take little bits of this off. And then I have some semolina flour in this bowl. I'm just going to give a little toss in there. And I'm going to form that into a ball. I don't want to press it too hard because I don't want it to become too compact. And then I'm just going to start dropping them in this box that has the semolina in it. And they are going to sit in there in the refrigerator for about 3 or 4 days. And what's going to happen during that process is that they're going to form a little bit of a skin on the outside of them, and you want that to happen, because that way when you cook them later, they don't fall apart. So you can see, I'd say I'm making these probably about maybe the size, a little bit smaller than a golf ball. So I'm just going to keep forming these and dropping them in the box. And I'm going to have a lot here, so I'm going to be giving some of them away as a gift. So I'm going to, once I get all these formed, we get them in the box, I'll pop back for a few minutes and we'll get these in the fridge, and they'll sit there for 3 or 4 days, and then I'll come back and start again. And you probably noticed that halfway through this I decided to put an apron on because I was making such a mess out of myself. By the time I get done with this, I'm going to have to take a shower. So I will see you in a few, and hopefully it won't take me too long to get all these rolled. Okay, so I've got my first box rolled and floured here. So I'm just going to take a little more semolina, and I'm going to sprinkle, do a good generous, I've done this once already, maybe twice already, a good generous sprinkle of semolina, because I do want that to coat these, and then it will obviously help keep them from sticking together. And I also want for them, once they sit in the refrigerator for a few days, to develop that skin that I talked about earlier on the outside of them, so that when you cook them, they'll have a little bit of a soft center and a little bit of firmer outside. So these look like they're going to be amazing. I've got another ball of dough here that I'm going to be rolling. The box here, this will be the one that I'll be gifting to my friend. So I'm going to get those finished rolling, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have everything rolled, and so now what I'm going to do is I already have quite a bit of semolina flour on here, but it's almost impossible to put too much because you really want these to form that skin on the outside, and you don't want them to stick together. So I'm going to give this a really generous dusting with the semolina. Just give them a little shake. And then they're going to go in the fridge, and like I said, they're going to sit in there for about maybe 3 to 4 days. I will check them every day, kind of move them around a little bit to make sure that they're not sticking together and the skin is forming like I would like it to. And then once they're all set up and ready to go, we'll be giving them a little cook-off and try them out. So there are a couple of ways that these can be served. You can do a little butter and sage sauce and sort of saute them in that, or you can cook them in a little tomato sauce. Or an interesting way to do them is to take a little chanterelle mushroom and cook the mushrooms in butter, and then finish the gnudi in that. And that's also a delicious way to serve them. So a couple of days in the fridge, a little rest, a little setting up, a little forming of that exterior that we would like to see, and we'll see you in a couple of days to finish this off. Thank you so much.